The wind hit my face as I rode into Dust Creek. The small Wild West town looked older, quieter, and more tired than before. 10 years had passed, but the streets still carried the same dry heat, the same creaking signs, and the same smell of dust and smoke. I held the reins tight and said, I never wanted this life again. Sheriff Dalton stood at the edge of the road. He lifted his hat and said, Ethan, you finally came home. I didn't plan it, I said. The letter forced me. He nodded slowly. Your father left the mine to you. But you know the truth. That place brings trouble. I need answers, I said. I need closure. Dalton looked away. Closure is hard to find here. Hope is even harder. I felt my chest tighten. I didn't come for hope. I came for the truth. Dalton stepped closer. People still talk about Maria. Some say she ran. Some say she died. I swallowed hard. She didn't run from me. He sighed. You say that because you need to believe it. I shook my head. I say it because I knew her. Dalton pointed at the burned hill behind the town. The mine is waiting. Maybe it has answers. Maybe it has pain. I lived with pain for years, I said. I can live with more. Dalton touched my shoulder. Just don't lose yourself again. I lost myself the day she vanished, I said. I left him behind and rode toward the mine. The path was rough and cracked. The boards on the old track were broken. The smell of burnt wood still lived in the air. I stopped at the entrance. The earth looked like a mouth ready to swallow me again. Thomas, the old worker, came out from behind a rock. He limped toward me and said, Ethan, I didn't think you'd show up. Well, I'm here, I said, and I need help. Thomas shook his head. No one wants to help in that place. People say the mine still cries at night. I don't care about stories, I said. I need the truth. Thomas looked at the ground. Your father tried to fix the mine. He paid with his life. I know, I said softly. And Maria, she was trapped inside that same day. Thomas raised his hand. Don't say her name here. The walls remember. I want them to remember, I said. I want them to tell me something. He sighed. If you go inside, go slow. The mine hates noise. I grabbed my lantern. I'm not scared. Thomas whispered, Courage is good, but courage dies fast in the dark. I stepped inside the mine. The air felt tight and heavy. Dust fell from the ceiling like slow rain. My lantern made shadows dance on the walls. Every step echoed like a memory trying to return. Maria, I whispered. I'm back. My voice shook. I hated that. I tried to breathe, but the air tasted like old smoke and fear. My boots scraped against broken stones. I remembered her last smile, her last touch, her last words. They hit me harder than falling rocks. I reached the ruined shaft. The ceiling had collapsed years ago, but someone had cleared part of the debris recently. Fresh marks cut through the old rubble. Who came here? I asked myself. I kneeled and lifted a small rock. Something lay under it. A small leather book covered in dust and dried mud. My hands froze. No, I whispered. This can't be here. I brushed the cover. My heart pounded. The handwriting on the front was familiar. It was gentle, curved, soft terse. It was Maria's diary. I felt the world tilt. My breath broke. My knees hit the ground. Why is this here? I asked the dark. Who hid it? I opened the first page. Her handwriting trembled. The words felt alive. I am scared. I feel danger. Someone watches me. I trust him too much. I should tell Ethan, but I can't. My chest turned cold. Who did you trust? I whispered. Why didn't you tell me? A sound came from behind me. Rocks shifted. Dust fell. The darkness felt alive. I closed the diary and stood up fast. Maria, I said to the shadows. What did you hide from me? My voice echoed through the tunnels, and for the first time in years, the mine answered with silence that felt like fear. Chapter 2, Maria's Lost Words. I closed the door behind me and locked it tight. The old wood made a hard sound, and the empty house felt colder than before. I held Maria's diary close to my chest. My hands shook, and my breath felt weak. I whispered, All right, let's see your truth, Maria. I sat near the window. The moonlight touched the pages. I opened the diary slowly. The first line hit my eyes like fire. The gold is gone. Someone took it. I fear the night. I felt a sharp pull inside my chest. I said to myself, gold? What gold? My voice sounded small. I turned the next page. The deal was wrong. I trusted the wrong man. My heart dropped. I said, what deal? Who was the man? My hand shook harder. The pages smelled like dust and fear. Then I saw the line that froze my breath. If anything happens to me, Ethan must know the truth about Jacob. I whispered, Jacob Ryder, why you, Jacob? My mind went back to him, his clean clothes, his rich smile, his strong voice. I read the next page. Jacob said he would save me, but he asked for everything. I shut the diary for a moment. My head felt too full. Save her from what? I asked the empty room. The walls gave no answer. I stood up and walked in circles. My boots made soft sounds on the floor. My chest felt tight. I opened the diary again because I could not stop. He knows about the gold. He knows who took it. He said I must trust him. I whispered, Jacob, what did you do to her? I reached the last entry. My throat closed when I saw the same line again. If anything happens to me, Ethan must know the truth about Jacob. I felt anger rise inside me, but fear rose too. Why did she write this so many times? I said, why repeat it? I closed the diary and held it with both hands. I needed answers. I needed someone who knew the old days. There was one man, Old Man Pike. I walked through the dark street. The wind carried dust, and the old lamps flickered. Pike's cabin stood near the small hill. Smoke rose from his chimney. I knocked on his door. Pike, I need help. The door opened slow. Pike stared at me with his tired eyes. Ethan, you look like trouble. I said, I read her diary, Pike. I saw her words. He sighed. Come in, boy. I stepped inside. The place smelled like tobacco and old memories. Pike sat on a wooden chair and pointed at another. Sit, he said. I Saturday, Pike. Maria wrote about gold. She wrote about a deal. And she wrote about Jacob. Pike closed his eyes for a long moment. I hoped you would never see that. I leaned forward. Tell me the truth. Pike rubbed his beard. You want the truth? Then listen. I'm listening, I said. He looked at me sadly. Maria got herself in a storm. A storm made of men, money, and fear. I frowned. What storm? Pike said, 2 years back, a gang came to town with stolen gold. They wanted a quiet place to hide it. Somehow, Maria knew them. My breath caught. Maria? With a gang. He raised a hand. She didn't help them. She tried to stop them. But she learned too much. I said, Jacob was part of it. Pike's voice lowered. Jacob made deals with anyone who had money. He wanted power. He wanted land. He even wanted that stolen gold. My fists tightened. So he used Maria? Pike stared at the fire. He promised to protect her, but the man wanted the gold for himself. I asked, did he hurt her? Pike replied, I don't know, but she feared him at the end. I felt my chest burn. Why didn't she tell me? Pike looked at me with tired eyes. She wanted to keep you safe. I shook my head. Safe? Safe from Jacob. He said nothing. I opened the diary and pointed at the last line. She wrote this many times. Pike read it and sighed. She wanted you to uncover her truth. I whispered, then I will. Pike leaned toward me. Ethan, be careful. Jacob is rich now. Powerful. Dangerous. I stood up. I don't care. Pike grabbed my arm. You should. I pulled my arm back. I can't stop now. Pike said, then follow her words. I asked, where do I start? Pike shook his head slowly. The diary is not only a diary. I frowned. What do you mean? It's a map, he whispered. A map to her lost gold and her killer. My heartbeat jumped. A map. Pike nodded. She had clues in the pages. You must read them again. I stared at the diary. Then I will find everything. Pike said, Ethan, you will find danger too. I walked to the door. I'm ready for it. Pike said softly, Son, no one is ready for Jacob Ryder. I looked back at him. I don't need to be ready. I just need the truth. Pike nodded slowly. Then go find it. I stepped outside into the cold night. The sky looked wide and empty. I held the diary close. Maria's words echoed in my mind. If anything happens to me, Ethan must know the truth about Jacob. I whispered, I hear you, Maria. I hear every word. And I walked into the dark, ready to follow her lost trail. Chapter 3, Jacob's Smile. I rode hard into the late afternoon sun. Dust filled my lungs. My hat slanted low over my eyes. Jacob's mind rose like a dark fortress ahead. Wooden walls scorched by years of fire and greed. I felt my hands tighten on the reins. I had to face him. I had to know the truth about Maria. Jacob came out from the big wooden office, smiling too wide, too perfect. Ethan, my old friend, he said, voice smooth as whiskey. I wanted to spit. His smile was a knife. I dismounted slowly. Jacob, I said, my voice tight. We need to talk. About Maria. His smile didn't falter. Of course. But she's gone. You know that. I clenched my jaw. Don't lie to me. I have this. I pulled the diary page from my coat pocket. Jacob's eyes flicked to it. Just for a second, his smile twitched. That second told me everything. I swallowed hard. My pulse hammered in my ears. James, his right-hand man, stepped forward, slow and silent. He blocked the path, arms crossed, eyes cold. I felt his stare like bullets. My boots sank into the dry dirt. Jacob laughed softly. You think that little scrap of paper means anything? You're chasing ghosts, Ethan. I ignored him. This isn't a ghost, Jacob. Maria wrote this. She trusted me. You betrayed her. You stole her gold. His eyes hardened, but his grin stayed. Ethan, you never understood. Maria made choices. She knew risks. Maybe she didn't want to be found. I spat in the dirt. Don't twist this. I know you took everything. Abigail's voice cut through the tension from behind me. Ethan, watch yourself. He's destroyed men stronger than you. I turned to her, nodding. I know, but I won't stop. Jacob stepped closer, boots crunching on the dusty ground. You think you're ready to fight me? You're alone, my friend. I felt rage twist in my chest. I don't care how many men you have. I'll fight, even if it kills me. James shifted, hand brushing the gun at his belt. My heart pounded. I met his eyes. I would not back down. Jacob leaned back, smirk still in place. Bold words. I like bold men, sometimes they die for it. I ignored the threat. I lifted my chin. Tell me about Maria. Where did you send her? He shook his head slowly, mock pity in his eyes. Some truths are better left buried, Ethan. Some ghosts you can't chase. I felt a cold fire inside me. My fists ached to hit, but I held them. Words were my first weapon. I will find her truth, even if I burn this whole town down. Jacob laughed again, but it didn't reach his eyes. He waved James back. Then run, Ethan. Run while you can. I turned to leave, dust kicking up behind me. I felt James follow, every step heavy, watching. My muscles tensed. Every nerve screamed. Abigail caught my arm. Don't let anger blind you. Think. Plan. I nodded, though my blood roared. I will. But he will pay. He has no idea what's coming. The diary page burned in my pocket like fire. Maria's words whispered in my ear, haunting, guiding. I would uncover every lie, every secret. As I mounted my horse, the sun dipped low, turning the sky to gold and blood. Jacob's smile followed me, mocking and cruel. But I knew now. I knew where the fight would go. And I was ready. I kicked the horse. Dust rose behind me as I rode hard into the approaching night. I'll fight him, even if it kills me. I whispered to the wind, my teeth clenched, my heart pounding, and my soul screaming for justice. Chapter 4, A Trail of Ashes. I wiped the dust from my hands and opened Maria's diary again. The leather smelled old, almost burned, like the ruins of my father's mine. Her handwriting trembled on the page. I read slowly. word by word, trying to understand her fear. I met him last night near the burnt tunnels. I fear what he will do. I must hide the truth before he finds me. I swallowed hard. Who was he? Jacob, surely. I had to follow her clues. Thomas leaned against the doorway, watching me. His face was pale. You really want to go back there? He asked quietly. I have no choice, I said. Maria trusted me. I need to find the truth. Thomas nodded, but didn't look convinced. Just be careful, Ethan. Those tunnels nearly killed you once. I clenched my fists. I don't care. I need answers. I need her story. We rode our horses under the morning sun. The town slowly disappeared behind us. Dust rose from the ground like ghost smoke. I could feel Maria's presence guiding me. Every mile closer made my heart pound faster. I thought about her diary, the warnings she left, the secrets buried with the old mine. The burnt tunnels came into view at last. Their blackened beams were like broken teeth reaching into the sky. I dismounted slowly, my boots sinking into ash and loose dirt. Thomas followed silently. This place, he said, shaking his head. It feels alive. Alive with lies, I muttered, stepping into the darkness. My lantern flickered as I moved through the narrow path. Every sound echoed, rocks falling, metal creaking, the wind whispering. I held Maria's diary close to my chest. Here, I said, kneeling near a pile of ashes and old crates. This is where she said he met her. Thomas crouched beside me. You think something's still hidden? I nodded, brushing aside some ash. My fingers hit wood. A crate, buried but intact. I pried it open. Inside empty, except for one shiny coin. A symbol on it caught my eye. Jacob's mine logo. My stomach twisted. This is proof, I whispered. Thomas looked at me, eyes wide. I rifled through more debris and found burnt papers. They were fragile, blackened at the edges. Carefully, I spread them on a flat rock. My hand shook. Names, numbers, and letters. My father's handwriting. Jacob's handwriting. A secret partnership. My father wasn't innocent. My own blood had betrayed me. I can't believe this, I said. Rage and sorrow fought in my chest. He knew. My father knew. And Maria, she died hiding this. Thomas put a hand on my shoulder. We need to be careful, Ethan. If Dalton sees you like this, he'll stop you. Just then, a shadow appeared near the tunnel entrance. Sheriff Dalton's tall figure blocked the sunlight. You dig too deep, Ethan, he said firmly. His eyes were sharp. Stop. This isn't your fight alone. I looked him in the eye. It is now. This is about Maria. About truth. About justice. Dalton sighed and shook his head. You'll regret this. I didn't answer. I turned back to the crates. The diary's pages burned in my memory. Maria had trusted me to uncover everything. I couldn't fail her. I moved deeper, feeling the dust coat my face and clothes. The smell of burnt wood mixed with old earth. Every corner hid a secret. I kicked some loose stones aside. My lantern's light flickered again, revealing a narrow passage below a fallen beam. Careful, Ethan, Thomas whispered. I nodded, stepping carefully. Then it happened, a loud crack. Rocks tumbled from above. Dust filled the air. My heart raced. Thomas, I shouted. Move. We ran, dodging the falling stones. One massive rock hit the ground inches from my foot. My lantern shattered, throwing the tunnel into darkness. The walls echoed our breaths, loud and ragged. I grabbed Thomas's arm. Keep close. We made it out of the narrow passage, just as more debris fell behind us. My chest burned. My hands were scraped. My coat torn. I sank to the ground, staring at the destroyed tunnel. Maria's words echoed in my mind. If anything happens, Ethan must know the truth. I held her diary tight. The coin and the burnt papers rested beside me. My mind raced. Her trust, her courage, it wasn't in vain. I would see this through, no matter the danger. I won't stop, I whispered. Not until she's safe in memory and justice is done. The wind blew through the tunnel ruins. Ash swirled around me like ghosts. And in that swirling dust, I swore I could almost see Maria's face, smiling, urging me forward. Chapter 5. The return of fear. I woke up on a hard bed, and pain ran through my arm. My head felt heavy. My mouth felt dry. I saw a lamp on the table, and shadows moved on the wall. I tried to sit up, but my ribs burned. "Easy now," a calm voice said. I turned and saw Dr. Harlow. He cleaned a copper tool with slow hands. "You almost died today," he said. "I know," I whispered. "The ground had just fell." He nodded, but looked worried. "Someone loosened the support beams. That was no accident." My heart jumped. "You sure?" "Yes," he said. "And you need to be careful." The door opened, and Abigail stepped in. Dust covered her dress. "I thought you were gone," she said. "I almost was," I answered with a small smile. She came closer. "Who did this?" I looked at Dr. Harlow. He raised his brow, waiting for my answer. "I don't know," I said, "but I think someone wants me quiet." Abigail sat beside me. "You need help. Just tell me what's going on." "I can't," I said. "You can," she insisted. "It's not safe for you," I said. She shook her head. "Too late for that." Dr. Harlow cleared his throat. "You should rest." "I need to go home," I said. "No," Abigail said. "You should stay." "I can't," I told her. "There's something I must do." Dr. Harlow sighed. "If you must go, take this." He wrapped my ribs tight and handed me a small bottle. "Pain drops," he said. "Use only if needed." "I always need them," I joked weakly. He didn't laugh. Abigail walked me outside. The sky was deep orange, and the wind smelled of dust and iron. "You worry me," she said. "I know," I replied. "Tell me what you're chasing," she said. "A ghost," I said. She frowned. "Maria." I froze. "How do you know that name?" "I heard you say it when you were half awake," she said. "Who is she?" "My past," I said softly. "And maybe my end." She grabbed my hand. "Please be honest with me." "I will," I said. It was a lie, and she knew it. When I reached my small cabin, I saw something strange. A folded letter lay under the door. My stomach tightened. I picked it up. The handwriting hit me like a bullet. "Maria." My breath left my body. "This is impossible," I whispered. I opened it with shaking fingers. "Jacob watches you. Find the last piece." I left it where the river bends. "If Jacob finds it first, he will silence you like he silenced others." My hands went cold. She was dead, I said to myself. She had to be dead. A knock came from behind me. I spun around fast. Rose Pike stood there, holding a lantern. Her eyes were wide. "Mr. Taki," she said, "Grandpa sent me." "What's wrong?" I asked. "Men were circling your house last night," she said. "3 of them. They had guns. They kept whispering your name." I swallowed hard. "Jacob's men." She nodded. "I think so." I looked at the dark hills beyond the town. Shadows moved like snakes between the rocks. Fear crawled into my chest. "How long were they here?" I asked. "Hours," she said. "Why didn't Pike tell me?" "He didn't want to scare you," she said. "Too late," I whispered. Rose stepped closer. "You should come with us. Grandpa will hide you." "No," I said. "I can't hide." "You should," she insisted. "I have a letter," I said, "from someone I lost." "Is it dangerous?" "Yes," I said. "Everything about this is dangerous." She bit her lip. "Then take someone with you." "No," I said. "I ride alone." "That's stupid," she said. "I know," I replied. Inside my cabin, I packed fast. A canteen, a small map, a gun with 6 bullets, a rope, matches. The desert was cold at night and cruel in the morning. I knew it well. I feared it too. Abigail came running before I mounted my horse. "You're leaving again," she said. "I have to," I answered. "Tell me why," she said. "I found a clue," I said. "Maria left it for me." She looked hurt. "You still chase her?" "I chase the truth," I said. "And what am I?" she asked softly. "You're the only good thing left," I said. "Then stay," she whispered. "I can't," I said. She stepped back. "Then come back alive." "I'll try," I said. "That's not enough," she said. It's all I can give, I whispered. I climbed onto my horse. The leather creaked. The wind rose. Rose held the lantern high. Be careful, she said. I'll do my best, I replied. I looked at the open desert. The moonlight turned the sand silver. The hills looked like old bones. My heart beat fast. My hand shook. Fear came back, stronger than before. I kicked my horse forward. The desert swallowed me whole. But I kept riding. I had no choice. Maria called me again, and I followed. Chapter 6, The Desert Truth. I rode my horse through the desert, sun burning my neck, dust filling my eyes. My hands shook as I held Maria's diary tightly. Every page pushed me forward, every word a whisper in my heart. I thought of her alone, scared, hiding the truth from me. Thomas, do you think she could still be alive? I asked, my voice cracking. No, Ethan, Thomas said, wiping sweat from his brow. But we'll find the proof. That's all that matters now. I clenched my fists. Proof. Proof would finally set everything straight. I urged my horse faster. The desert stretched endless. Golden waves under the burning sun. Cacti cast sharp shadows, and the wind carried the scent of sand and heat. Hours passed. My legs ached. My throat burned. Then I saw it. A crumbling wooden outpost half buried in sand. The place was abandoned, broken, silent. My heart thumped like a drum. I dismounted, gripping my rifle. This has to be it, I whispered. The door creaked as I pushed it open. Inside, the floorboards were cracked and rotten. Sunlight slanted through holes, lighting up floating dust. My boots creaked. I held my breath. Every step felt dangerous. I dropped to my knees, searching. And there it was, a metal box hidden under the cracked floor. My fingers trembled as I pried it open. Papers, letters, and old documents spilled out. My eyes scanned them. My heart sank. Jacob. He had taken everything. Maria's inheritance, my father's plans, all stolen to build his empire. He had burned my mind. He had ruined lives. Rage burned hot inside me, and I fell to my knees. No, no, I shouted. Dust flew around me as my hands shook. I pressed the papers to my chest. My vision blurred. Tears filled my eyes. Maria, I will fix this. I swear. A sudden noise made me spin. Guns. Jacob and James stood at the doorway. The wind carried the hiss of sand and danger. Jacob's smile was cold, smooth, cruel. Well, Ethan, he said, voice calm. I didn't expect you to find this. He held up his gun. You could leave now. Take this money and disappear. Forget Maria. Forget your father. Forget the mine. I laughed, a bitter, trembling sound. Money? You think I want your money? You stole her life. Jacob's eyes narrowed. Then die if you refuse. James stepped forward, silent and deadly. My heart pounded. I backed away, clutching the box. Every muscle screamed. Dust whipped my face. The sun glared down like fire. I dove behind a broken crate. Shots rang. Sand sprayed into my face. My hands shook as I returned fire. Heart racing, I saw Thomas's face in my memory. Maria's face. I could not fail. I grabbed a small, hidden path behind the outpost. My boots slipped in the sand, but I kept running. Bullets struck wood and dirt near me. James cursed. Jacob shouted, but I didn't look back. My horse waited, snorting and stamping. I leapt onto its back, clutching the box tight. The desert seemed endless, a sea of gold and fire. Dust storms rose around me, wind whipping my clothes and hair. Jacob fired from the outpost, but my horse was fast, stubborn, and alive. I urged it forward, through the smoke, through the sand, through the pain. I could feel every heartbeat, every pound of blood, every memory of Maria's fear and courage. I would not fail her. Not now. Hours later, I slowed the horse near a small canyon, chest heaving. The box lay beside me, safe. My hand still shook. I opened it again, reading a letter Maria had hidden from me. Her words, her love, her hope, they burned in my heart. Tears ran down my face. I whispered to the wind, to the desert, to Maria herself. Maria, I know everything now. I know who took everything from you. I know what they did, and I will make it right. The desert was quiet, endless. But inside me, fire raged. I was ready for what came next. Ready to fight. Ready to survive. Ready to reclaim our lives. And I would not stop until justice was mine. The sun set behind the canyon. Shadows stretched long and dark, but I did not fear them. I held Maria's diary, the box of proof, and my hope. One day, the mine would rise again. One day, Maria's name would be honored, and I would survive. Chapter 7, Judgment at Sunset. The sun dipped low, painting the town gold. I carried the box of evidence in my hands. My heart thumped hard. Every step to the town square felt heavy. People watched me with curiosity. Some whispered. I saw Abigail near the saloon, nodding quietly. Thomas walked beside me. Pike and Rose followed behind. My fingers tightened around the box. I could not fail. I spotted Sheriff Dalton leaning on the steps of the courthouse. I walked straight to him. "Sheriff," I said, voice trembling slightly. "I have proof. I have everything about Jacob." He raised an eyebrow. "Ethan, you sure about this?" "Yes," I said. "Maria's diary, the papers, the coins, all of it." He sighed and ran a hand through his gray hair. I suspected him for years, but I had no proof. "You got it all." I opened the box slowly. The dust of years rose like ghosts. I lifted the diary in one hand and the folded papers in the other. The crowd gathered, murmuring nervously. My stomach twisted. I swallowed hard. "This is it." I cleared my throat. "People of Cedar Creek," I started. "Jacob Ryder has lied to all of you. He stole my wife's fortune. He betrayed my family. He destroyed my father's mind to hide the truth." Murmurs grew louder. Faces turned. Some gasped. Some frowned. I saw the baker, the blacksmith, the schoolteacher. All eyes were on me. I felt sweat on my brow, but I forced myself to continue. "I have the proof," I said. I unfolded the documents. "These papers show the contracts Jacob forged. Maria's diary shows his cruelty. He threatened her, and she tried to escape. He lied to all of us." Jacob stepped forward. He tried to smile. "Ethan, you misunderstand. This is not what it looks like." I laughed bitterly. "Not what it looks like." I shouted. "You took everything she had. You lied. You threatened her life." James, his right-hand man, shifted behind him. I noticed tension in Jacob's eyes. His smooth mask faltered. "Look," Jacob said. "Maria ran away. She left on her own. You make too much of nothing." I held up Maria's diary. "Read these words yourself," I said. I opened the diary and read aloud slowly, clearly, so everyone heard. "If anything happens to me, Ethan must know the truth about Jacob. He will take everything if I do not hide it." I paused. The crowd gasped. Some people whispered, covering their mouths. I felt a tremor in my hands, but kept reading. "Jacob is not to be trusted. He will destroy the mine. He will take the gold. He will take my life if he can." I looked at the people. Their faces changed. Confusion, shock, anger. They started murmuring together, voices growing. Jacob's face turned pale. He stepped back, trying to charm them. "This is lies," he shouted. "She made it all up. You can't believe him." "Her handwriting," I said, holding the diary higher, "is hers. And the papers show his lies. The gold, the mine contracts, everything is proof. You know it's true." Someone in the crowd shouted, "He lied to us." Others nodded. Anger spread like fire. The sheriff stepped forward. "Jacob Ryder," Dalton said, his voice cold, "I arrest you. You are guilty of theft, fraud, and endangering citizens. You will answer to the law." Jacob's face twisted in rage. He glanced at James. I thought he would fight, but James stepped back. His loyalty ended where his fear began. Jacob's eyes went wide. "No," Jacob yelled. "She left on her own. She ran away. You have no right." The people shook their heads. Whispers became voices. "Enough. We saw the evidence. You lied." He stumbled. I noticed his hands shake. His power crumbled in front of the town. Sheriff Dalton grabbed him roughly. Jacob struggled but could not escape. I felt a strange mix of relief and emptiness. The man who caused Maria so much pain was finally stopped. The town was silent now, except for murmurs of approval. I dropped the diary into my coat pocket. It felt heavy, full of history and truth. I looked around at the people. Faces softened. Some nodded at me. Abigail touched my shoulder briefly. Thomas gave me a small smile. Pike and Rose looked proud. The sun set fully behind the wooden buildings. Long shadows stretched across the dusty street. I breathed in the golden light and whispered, "It's done. Maria Justice is done." No one could undo what happened. But now the truth was clear. Jacob could not hide anymore. The town knew. And for the first time in years, I felt hope. Chapter 8. Maria's Last Goodbye. I rode back to the town with the box of papers in my hands. My chest felt tight. My fingers shook. I kept thinking about Maria. Every step on the dusty road reminded me of her laugh, her voice, her hands. She was gone. I couldn't stop the thought. Nora waited outside the small cabin. Her eyes were sad. She held something wrapped in brown cloth. "Ethan," she said softly, "I have something you need to see. Something you should know about Maria." I stopped. My heart skipped a beat. What is it?" I asked, my voice trembling. She lifted the cloth carefully. A small bundle of worn clothes and a faded journal fell into my hands. My hands shook. My eyes filled with tears. She didn't survive," Nora said, her voice breaking. "Maria died years ago. She tried to escape Jacob's men. I buried her secretly to protect the town." I couldn't speak. My legs felt weak. My knees hit the wooden floor. I covered my face with my hands. The world spun around me. Everything I believed in shattered. Thomas knelt beside me. "Ethan, I'm here," he said. His hand rested gently on my shoulder. Abigail came in quietly. Her eyes were soft. "You don't have to face this alone," she said. She held my hand. I could feel her warmth. I wanted to push everyone away, but I didn't. I needed them. Old Man Pike's eyes were wet. "Son, I am sorry. I wish I could have saved her." His voice cracked like broken wood. Rose stayed near the door. She didn't speak, but I felt her presence. She understood. I could see it in her eyes. I opened Maria's last diary page carefully. My hands were shaking. I whispered her name softly. "Maria, Maria." The page was fragile. Her handwriting was small, shaky. My eyes traced every word. "Ethan, if you ever read this, I am gone." I could not stay. The men came, and I had no choice. "Please do not blame yourself. You must live. You must rebuild. You must find courage in your life again. I love you. Always. Remember me not with pain, but with hope. Keep your heart open, even when the world seems dark. Find your own way, Ethan. Be the man I always believed you could be." I fell back against the wall. My chest heaved. My tears fell like rain. I held the diary close to my heart. I failed her," I whispered. My voice was hoarse. I should have protected her. I should have been there. Abigail hugged me tightly. "You did what you could, Ethan. You can't change the past. You can only move forward." Thomas nodded. "She wanted you to live. She wanted you to be strong." I swallowed hard. I tried to focus on the words. Courage, hope, life, love. They were all in her final letter to me. I had to believe them. Old Man Pike handed me a small wooden box. Inside were coins and papers Maria hid. "She wanted you to have this, to help you start again," he said softly. I held the box carefully. I felt her presence. I could almost hear her whispering, "Be brave. Live your life." I looked at Abigail, Rose, Thomas, and Pike. They were all watching me with care. I realized I wasn't alone. I never was. I stood slowly, holding the diary and box close to my chest. My voice was firm, but trembling. "I will rebuild mine. Not for gold, not for power. For her, for Maria, and for the people who believe in me." Abigail nodded. "That's the Ethan I know. Strong, brave, caring." Rose smiled softly. "She would be proud of you." I walked outside into the warm sunlight. The dusty town looked alive again. The wind whispered through the wooden buildings. The sky was wide and clear. I could see the mountains in the distance. My heart ached, but I felt a small weight lift. Maria was gone, but she had left me hope. She had left me courage. I could survive. I could live. I could honor her memory with my life. I held the diary close. I whispered one last time, "Maria, I will not fail you. I promise." The wind carried my words through the town. I felt her near. I felt her love. And for the first time in years, I breathed freely. The sun shone on the mine in the distance. Broken, yes, but waiting for me to rebuild, waiting for me to bring life back. And I would. Chapter 9, A New Dawn Over the Mine. The sun rose slowly over the broken hills. I stood on the ridge, my boots digging into the dry soil. The wind carried dust from the mine below, but it felt like the dust of the past had settled too. I looked at the wooden structures we rebuilt. The miners were already at work, hammers clanging, pickaxes striking, voices shouting orders and encouragement. "Ethan, you ready to start today?" Thomas asked, wiping sweat from his brow. "I am," I said. My voice sounded firmer than I felt. I watched Abigail approach, long brown hair tied loosely, sun catching its shine. She smiled softly. "It looks good, Ethan," she said. "Better than I imagined." I nodded. "It's not perfect, but it's ours." The sheriff rode up slowly, dust trailing behind his horse. "The town feels different," he said. "People know justice came today." "Yes," I said. I swallowed hard. "Jacob is gone. We can rebuild." Abigail placed her hand on mine. "We did this together." I squeezed it. "Together," I repeated, feeling a warmth I hadn't felt in years. The miners worked steadily. Rose and Pike watched quietly from the edge, helping in small ways. Even Thomas seemed calmer. The town's recovery mirrored the mine's. Both scarred, both slowly healing. I wandered down the wooden walkway toward the mine entrance. The diary I found months ago rested in my coat pocket. I could feel its weight. Maria's words, her hope, her pain, they had guided me here. I stopped at the old wooden cart, where she had once hidden her secrets. I opened my coat and took out the diary. My fingers traced the worn cover. "Maria," I whispered, "I wish you were here." Abigail stayed behind, letting me have this moment. I placed the diary in a small wooden box I had carved myself. The box was simple, rustic, but strong, like what we were building here. "I'll keep this safe," I said aloud. "For her. For us." I sat on the edge of the ridge and looked at the mine. Dust floated in the morning light. The workers' laughter echoed faintly below. Birds circled in the sky. I breathed in the air, sharp and clean, and felt something settle inside me. A peace I didn't know I could feel. I remembered the fights with Jacob, the desert chases, the letters and secret passages, Maria's fear, the betrayal, the loss. Pain had carved deep lines in me, but I survived. I had to. For her. For myself. "Ethan," Thomas called. "Lunch break." I smiled faintly. "I'm coming," I shouted back. As I walked down the wooden steps toward the workers, I glanced at Abigail. Her eyes met mine, steady and kind. "Ready for the next step?" she asked. "Yes," I said. "The next step is life." We passed the old shaft where Maria's diary had been hidden. I touched the wooden railing lightly. Memories of her voice, her warnings, and her hope pressed against my chest. I let myself smile. For the first time in years, I felt that hope bloom inside me. The sun climbed higher, and light spilled across the valley. Shadows shrank. The mine glistened faintly, metal and wood reflecting the sunlight. It was still broken, still dangerous, still demanding, but alive. I felt the workers' eyes on me. They trusted me now. Their loyalty, their sweat, their hands, my hands guided them. I understood what leadership really meant. Not control, not fear. Respect, courage, life. I lifted the wooden box with Maria's diary carefully. I set it on the railing. "This is your legacy," I said softly. "And mine. I'll carry it forward." The wind rustled through the dry grass. A bird called from the ridge. The town seemed quiet now. Safe. The past could not touch us here. Not Jacob. Not betrayal. Not fear. Only memory and lessons. I took a deep breath. Maria, I whispered again. I lost you, but I found myself. Abigail rested her hand on my shoulder. You've done what's right, she said. For everyone. For her. For you. I nodded, feeling the weight lift slightly. The diary, the box, the mine, the town. They were pieces of a life rebuilt from ruin. The workers below shouted, laughing, hammering, living. And I smiled. For the first time in a long time, I believed in tomorrow. The sun shone brighter, golden on the hills. Dust swirled in the light. And I stood there, still, strong, alive, free. Maria, I carry you. Always.